Hello there, you're with NDTV. I'm Maha Siddiqui. Our top story, and a big boost to its combat prowess. The Indian Air Force inducted the first batch of indigenously developed light combat helicopters named Prachand, primarily designed for deployment in high-altitude regions. It was inducted into the IAF at a ceremony in Jodhpur. The Defence Minister called it a major milestone as the Prachand fulfills a specific role, particularly in a very high altitude operations where it can carry out a significant payload. Now, the design of the chopper is entirely Indian, the integration is Indian, and it fulfills an Indian requirement.
A multi-faith ceremony to induct India's light combat helicopter, which has now been named Prachand, which means fierce.
Weapons hot. Weapons hot. Fire. Target destroyed. Returning home.
The Prachand now enters service with 143 helicopter unit in Jodhpur and is being simultaneously inducted into the army. Of the 15 initial choppers ordered, 10 are being inducted into the IAF, 5 go to the army. The total cost 3,887 crores. Both services are expected to induct upwards of 50 Prachand helicopters each.
प्रचंड शक्ति, प्रचंड वेग और प्रचंड प्रहार की क्षमता वाले इस LCH का इंडक्शन हमारी एयरफोर्स की कैपेबिलिटीज में बढ़ोतरी के साथ साथ रक्षा उत्पादन क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर भी यह एक बड़ा कदम है.
Later, the minister flew on the Prachand. He's flown on the Indian Air Force's Sukhoi 30s earlier. For the Jodhpur-based squadron, inducting the chopper today is a huge day, a chance to fly a world-class hunter-killer chopper.
And we've spoken about high altitudes, but this is equally adept at flying less than treetop height as well, right? In the desert where there are no trees.
As I told you, this aircraft is highly maneuverable. It responds to the pilot inputs instantaneously, and because of that we can fly it as low as possible in bad weather conditions, in day and night, and all kinds of terrain. It's beautiful in terms of maneuverability.
The Prachand weighs 5.8 tons. It can fly at altitudes in excess of 16,000 feet in Ladakh. It's armed with missiles, rockets and a cannon. Developed after the Kargil War, when the existing choppers at the time were unable to carry out their high altitude missions, the Prachand has a key role to play in Ladakh against Chinese threats.
The engine, of course, it's co-developed. It's called the Shakti. Variants of this engine actually do service on the advanced light helicopter as well. Tell us about the engine. How does it work well with this airframe?
As far as the design of the engine is concerned, it is a very powerful engine wherein it has been designed to match the characteristics of the transmission system, and it gives us the option to fly the machine at the highest peaks of the Himalayas. So that is what it has been made in the country itself to operate in the Himalaya regions and operate at the highest peaks. So as far as the buzz in the squadron is concerned, it is like we are working day and night, and still we are fresh and we are excited, and we have that enthusiasm always there. So we are working towards operationalizing the platform at the earliest. For that we have got pilots from different streams, so we have a varied experience in our kitty that we are utilizing well. So that is the kind of buzz is going on.
And it is definitely a proud privilege for all of us to be a part of this elite group of the LCH Trailblazers, and we are all honored to have been chosen to shoulder this responsibility, and definitely it will be our sincere endeavor to perform to the best of our ability to operationalize this state-of-the-art machine, the fleet, to its full capacity and capability at the earliest.
So we have the Tejas for the fighter aircraft, Prachand for the light combat helicopter that you can see behind me now. A handful of these are being inducted into the Indian Air Force. In the first allotment, the government had sanctioned 15 helicopters, 10 for the Air Force, 5 for the Indian Army. These are progressively entering both services. Ultimately, we expect the Army to operate as many as 95, perhaps approximately 65 for the Indian Air Force.
Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
And now an NDTV special report on the toxic landfills in the national capital, Delhi. Crores have been spent till now, but the height of the landfills in Delhi has only been growing. One now is as tall as the Qutub Minar, a standing health hazard to the residents of Delhi. So what have the governments promised to do and what have they delivered? Unfortunately, the eyesore and the health hazard continues to stand tall amidst the political blame game. Prachand Sharma with this special report on the stinking toxic mounds of Delhi.
Delhi's garbage mountains. The biggest ones are taller than the India Gate and taller than even the 55-meter tall Rashtrapati Bhavan.
These heaps of garbage have marked the skyline of the capital city for more than 3 decades. And with each passing day, only more fresh waste is being added to these mountains. 53% of the waste that Delhi generates every single day ends up in one of these 3 landfills. The biggest one of them is here in Ghazipur. It's almost as tall as the Qutub Minar and the Taj Mahal. It spreads across 70 acres and is home to a host of diseases and toxic gases.
We are actually all breathing our trash. Be sure of that.
These mountains of garbage exceeded their capacity in the early 2000s. Even the top court of the country has repeatedly called for immediate action to bring them down. The Delhi Lieutenant Governor called them a national shame. Why are these mountains still standing strong? It's the textbook political blame game. The Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi blames the BJP-ruled municipal corporation and in fact says that they are planning to come up with 16 more dump sites, an allegation that the BJP denies.
Now the existing landfill sites, Bhalaswa, Okhla and Ghazipur, have gone way beyond their limit. Now people from all over Delhi are going to get exposed to this. Why? Because Bharatiya Janata Party's misgovernance and corruption of the last 15 years has caused this garbage crisis in the city.
दिल्ली को हर बात पर झूठ बोल के बरगलाना ये ठीक नहीं है. एमसीडी का ऐसा कोई प्रावधान नहीं है. आज ये तीनों पहाड़ अगर हैं तो ये कहीं न कहीं राज्य सरकार, दिल्ली सरकार, केजरीवाल सरकार की देन है, क्योंकि उन्होंने निगम का फंड अगर समय से जारी किया होता तो आज ये पहाड़ नहीं होते.
The BJP may deny this, but a 2016 Delhi Pollution Control Committee document quotes the municipalities saying that they have requested more land for landfill sites, saying that they have no other option. What's shocking is money that's going down the drain. Hundreds of crores allocated to clear, much more in damages. And despite all of this, Delhi's garbage mountains have not shrunk. Directed by the National Green Tribunal, India's topmost green court, the municipal corporations have deposited a total of 245 crores to clear the legacy waste at the 3 landfills. Separately, a government-commissioned report this year said that the amount of damage to the environment due to these 3 landfills is as high as about 450 crore rupees. In spite of all of these costs and losses, the heights of the Bhalaswa and Ghazipur landfills have not come down. Only one landfill, that's Okhla, became shorter from 55 meters to 40 meters during the period 2016 to 20. But even that increased in area during the same period. It grew by 44% from 32 to 46 acres. In fact, all the 3 landfills should have been reduced by 25% by March this year, according to a 2021 Delhi Pollution Control Committee report. But they have missed that deadline. The legacy waste at all of the 3 landfills is meant to be 100% gone by the end of 2024. But that is unlikely to be met based on the current situation. It's not as though no work is being done, but the trouble is that every day more and more waste is being added and there aren't enough resources to process it fast enough. Environmental experts like Bharti Chaturvedi, founder of Chintan, which was on the Supreme Court's panel on solid waste management, blame citizens as well for not segregating waste.
I think there is a huge blame with the citizens. It's not that the citizens don't know that they should compost and segregate. We lose lives in our years, make segregation completely non-negotiable, which means that don't segregate, we won't pick. In Delhi, the citizens rule the municipality in a perverse way.
With the rising population, the garbage that 2 crore people of Delhi generate is only increasing. The city generates over 11,000 tons of waste every day, taking the garbage being dumped in landfills up by 15% in a year. While the political blame game continues, people's lives are put on risk. The municipalities accept that these landfills continue at the risk of human life.
On one hand, there are cleanliness campaigns such as the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan running across the country. On the other hand, such mountains of garbage right in the national capital of the country expose the reality of these cleanliness campaigns. Whenever we pass a garbage dump, a garbage bin or a truck, we often cover our nose. But this is where all those trucks and bins end up. This is the Bhalaswa landfill site that is close to 60 meters tall. We're at a house right next to this landfill and the locals here don't have an option to cover their nose.
For the locals, the landfills have forced them to stay inside their houses.
हम घर से बाहर नहीं निकल पाते हैं, इतनी बदबू आती है, फिर यहाँ का सरकार तो ऐसा ही है, हम तो हमेशा ही बीमार रहते हैं, हमको तो ये लगता है इसी से हम बीमार रहते हैं।
यहाँ आए थे हम लोग, तो पूरा जंगल था, यही मेन रोड था हमारा वाला झुग्गी वाला ही, तो धुआं होता है पूरे इलाके में धुआं हो जाता है जब आग लग जाती है तो उससे धांसा भी होता है, धुआं भी एकदम उठता है बच्चों का।
और हमारा आने जाने का रास्ता कहीं से भी नहीं है, ऐसे कोई मर भी जाए तो कोई एम्बुलेंस आना हो, किसी की शादी हो, कोई गाड़ियाँ, तो यहाँ कोई रास्ता नहीं है।
हमारे मस्जिदों के अंदर भी इसकी स्मेल आती है, बहुत बुरा लगता है इसके अंदर।
There were 76 fire calls from Delhi's 3 landfills in the last 3 years. In 2017, 2 people died as a part of the Ghazipur landfill came crashing down, sweeping several people into a canal. Doctors and experts say that the locals suffer from deadly health risks, and the risks don't really stop at areas around the landfills. These are a source of both air pollution and methane, which causes global warming.
पेशेंट की ये मान लीजिए इम्यूनिटी काफ़ी डाउन हो रही है, जिससे पेशेंट को अस्थमेटिक प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, एलर्जी की प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, सांस लेने में प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, कोल्ड एंड कफ रेगुलर रहता है पेशेंट को।
The liquid toxins from the dump sites contaminate the water around and add to the sewage. Locals say that during monsoons, the overflowing sewage even enters their homes. The government's groundwater analysis shows that a range of elements in the water around landfills exceed the desirable limit for drinking water, making locals around prone to diseases such as diarrhea and forcing lower-income households to buy water to save themselves from diseases. On one hand, Delhi is redeveloping its legacy buildings such as the Central Vista Avenue. On the other, the legacy waste we need to let go of is still standing strong. Perhaps the only thing bigger here than these mountains is the colossal failure of both governments and Delhi's citizens to get rid of these and manage their waste.
The national capital sits on 28 million tons of legacy waste in its 3 landfills. One of them is this landfill site in Okhla. Even though there are measures to bring down the legacy waste, as you can see, the trucks adding fresh waste to these sites every single day are increasing these sites' sizes. Now, even though crores of taxpayers' money has been spent on this issue, people still have to breathe and live their lives around these disease hotspots.
In New Delhi with camera person Rakesh Singh and Sudesh Kumar Ram, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.
back in a humiliating climb down for UK Prime Minister Liz Truss. Britain scrapped plans to axe its top income tax rate just 10 days after a debt-driven budget sparked turmoil on the markets and fierce criticism during a cost of living crisis. The announcement also marked the first major policy U-turn under the new British Prime Minister Liz Truss, who took office less than a month ago. A humiliating U-turn for the new Prime Minister of UK, Liz Truss. She and her Finance Minister, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, have abandoned plans to cut the top rate of income tax for the rich. They were defending it till just before the abrupt U-turn. Their mini-budget, just 10 days ago, had erased a 45% tax rate for the richest taxpayers. A move that didn't go down well as millions are facing a cost of living in the UK.
Are you going to be able to survive this, Chancellor? Is there a big question mark next to your judgment now, Chancellor? Are you going to say sorry, Chancellor?
The Prime Minister tweeted, "We get it and we have listened. The abolition of the 45% rate had become a distraction from our mission to get Britain moving." The mini-budget spooked the pound, which crashed to its lowest levels ever, recovering a bit after the U-turn. It spooked investors and it spooked the Prime Minister's own party, the Conservatives.
Policy didn't stack up and it didn't make sense. And it's absolutely right and proper, and I'm very pleased it's been done quickly, that the government's U-turned on this, and I strongly welcome it this morning.
Liz Truss's own approval ratings are lower than Boris Johnson, her controversial predecessors, ever were. The several polls show the opposition Labour Party surging ahead in popularity polls. But things aren't likely to improve anytime soon, with energy costs soaring ahead of winter. Bureau Report, NDTV. The Brazil presidential election will go to the second round as President Jair Bolsonaro defied pre-poll predictions to mount a strong performance. Voters now have 4 weeks to decide which of the two, far-right Jair Bolsonaro or leftist challenger Lula da Silva, both arch rivals, should lead Brazil.
Brazil's highly divisive presidential election, headed for a high-stakes runoff vote as far-right incumbent 67-year-old Jair Bolsonaro beat expectations, finishing close second to leftist challenger and frontrunner 76-year-old Lula da Silva, both falling short of the 50% mark to claim outright victory in the tense first round of the polls. With a huge 43% vote share in favor of the combative ex-army captain Bolsonaro, seen trailing in the opinion polls in comparison to 48% vote share of Brazil's popular ex-president Lula, who served 18 months in jail on graft charges before his conviction was finally annulled.
Na minha vida, que me motiva, me estimula e me faz renascer a cada dia, que é a crença de que nada acontece por acaso. Nada acontece por acaso. Durante toda essa campanha,
widely known as Trump of the tropics, Bolsonaro refused to accept defeat, attacking the country's election system ahead of the polls, in true Trump-like fashion, warning of a war if he loses.
A diferença para o Nordeste, levando-se em conta o resultado de 2018, primeiro turno, nós tivemos uma votação melhor do que 2018. E nós caímos no Sudeste, Sul, né, Sudeste não, Minas, Rio e Minas Gerais. Então essa votação perdida é que a gente vai buscar recuperar nesses 3 estados que são os maiores colégios eleitorais do Brasil.
Over 150 million Brazilians have voted in the country's most polarized presidential election in decades.
Votei em quem eu queria e votei na minha cidadania que eu posso ser, porque nem todo mundo pode votar a idade que eu já estou, mas eu voto. Posso chegar aos 70 anos, mas eu vou votar, porque eu para exercício da minha cidadania no nosso país.
While both the arch rivals have claimed victory, the critical final runoff will be 4 weeks from now, on October the 30th.
Well, this year's Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine has been awarded to Swedish scientist Svante Pääbo for his discoveries on human evolution. The award panel said that Pääbo's work provided key insights into our immune system and what makes us unique compared with our extinct cousins. The Medicine Prize kicked off a week of Nobel Prize announcements. It will continue on Tuesday with the Nobel Prize Physics announcement, with Chemistry on Wednesday and Literature on Thursday. The 2022 Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday and Economics Award on the 10th of October.